All right, Nick, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. Huge bounce back win against a division rival in the Denver Broncos, a Broncos team that may not have been playing their best at this point in the season, but neither have the Raiders. The Raiders are much better than they've been playing so far, but this Broncos team has stars all around the ball, so you cannot count them out, especially in a divisional game. And so this is a big time win for the Raiders, whether you want to think that way or not. This is a get back, a get right game for the Raiders, and they're back on track and playing ball the way that we expect them to. Obviously, this offense put up 32 points. Big for them to get this thing clicking because this is such a talented offense, and it's one that you really cannot discount this team. And there's been some weak points, mainly the offensive line up to this point, but we have the inside scoop. We have some news that this thing is turning around. This ship hasn't been what people said it was going to be early on in the preseason. This offensive line is starting to gel, and there's some key pieces, and it's looking really nice. And we've been very surprised by how it's done so far this season. But we aren't the only ones that are surprised. I'm sure Raiders fans have been surprised as well. And what we want to know is, Raiders fans, who has surprised you the most this season? What player on this team has really jumped off the page and you're like, man, I wasn't expecting this guy to be that good this early on in the season, but they're really looking like a nice player, quite the player. So let us know in the comments below who has surprised you this season. But Nick, let's talk about the Raiders O-line.
Yeah, so before we get into the Raiders O-line, a deep dive on that. Remember, we talked about in our last Raiders video is that their win against the Broncos, they found the formula, and that is to run the football with Josh Jacobs up front, throw to Devontae Adams when needed, but running the football, power football is how that's going to be their identity. That's how they're going to win games. And this piece over at The Athletic kind of highlights it, and I want to read from a little bit here. The game of musical chairs on the offensive line may be coming to an end. The Raiders started their fourth different group this season against the Broncos. Colton Miller at left tackle, Alex Bars at left guard, Andre James at center, Dylan Parham at right guard, and Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle, and had their ninth different combination take the field when Thayer Munford Jr. replaced Illuminor in the second quarter. Illuminor then came back in early, but Munford finished the game. And here's the key point, Miles. It was pretty clear that the unit was better when Munford was on the field. Across his 44 snaps, they averaged 6.2 yards per rush and allowed 0 sacks. That's according to True Media. In Illuminor's 30 snaps, they averaged only 4.6 yards per rush and allowed 2 sacks. The rookie, Munford, has earned his spot. And Miles, that's one of the things to talk about. This is a Raiders team that came in with a lot of changes, right? New head coach, Devontae Adams, a whole new structure, what's going to happen. But one of the key things that was overlooked was this offensive line, finding the right pieces on the offense line to kind of square it. Obviously, moving on past Alex Leatherwood, just trying to find that group and cohesive group together that can play as well. And so far, it looks like the Raiders have it. They're relying a lot on youth, and so far it worked. It did really well against a very stingy Broncos defense. If they can run the ball effectively coming up against the Kansas City Chiefs, that's how you can win games in this division, right? We talked about the AFC West being just sort of a shootout. Everyone's putting all kind of points. You got the Chargers, you got the Chiefs, obviously. It's a high-scoring division. Maybe running the football, controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage, that may be and probably is the best recipe for success for the Raiders. And getting Munford in that group, in that starting five, maybe the final piece that allows that offensive line group to come together and run the football at will when needed to.
Yeah, Nick. And the thing that excites me the most is you got the young guy Mumford out there doing great, but then you got the other rookie, Parham, right next to him, and he's doing really well this season. Obviously, Andre James, the center, has been playing decent as well, and Colton Miller, the other left tackle, has been playing at an acceptable level. And this is very surprising, especially because Raiders had to move off a big-time investment of a first-round pick and a guy like Alex Leatherwood. And, when things like that don't pay off, you wonder, how far is this going to set us back? We spent a first-round pick on a guy like Leatherwood. We invested in him. We trusted him. We want him to come in and be here. It's almost like reminded me of Mekhi Becton with the Jets, the same kind of story. Been in and out, hasn't been up to snuff, hasn't been, quite what you were expecting them to be. And then you decide to move on from Leatherwood, and you're like, all right, let's get a veteran guy in here, throw him in the fold. We'll see if we can make up for it. But it's always nice when a rookie can come in and kind of give you that extra spark as well. So you can bet on the future with a guy like Munford. I don't think Illuminor is like a future type player. He's been around for a while. He's getting up there. He's almost 28 years old. But a younger guy is someone that you come in, you can bet the future on the pairing of him and Parham. This is offensive line you can look forward to, and you probably don't have to spend a lot of money on it going forward as well. These young rookie contracts, don't you think?
Well, especially this guy. He was a 7th round pick. He was picked 238. I'd have searched to because I forgot. I didn't know if he was Mr. Irrelevant or not. I mean, he was so late in the draft out of Ohio State. This was not a guy that they drafted, to come in and start and make a big impact right away. He was maybe a depth guy if he made the team at best, but he's come out and earned it. He's beat out guys like Leatherwood. He's beat out Illuminor. He's proved himself. He's earned that spot. And it's not just been his run blocking either. In week 3, according to PFF, he only gave up one quarterback pressure in 53 snaps. So he's actually been a very effective pass blocker as well. So these are kind of the guys, right? These guys that you aren't expecting that come out of left field that make a big impact. And I give a lot of credit to the Raiders, to not just rely on the veterans, to go a little aggressive here. Give the rookie 7th-round draft pick plenty of playing time. He earns his spot. And I think the Raiders offensive line, they found their key 5 and they're ready to, kind of retool themselves as they try and turn their season around.